Hey, unicorn, how are you? Listen, you're like, unicorn? I know, right? Hey, it's your girl, Sherri Somers. Welcome to my side of heaven on YouTube. So, I want to talk to the unicorns for a second. And I know you're like, unicorn, what does that mean? What do I mean? And where are you going with that? So, for the past few months, I've been in this space where what has been helping me grow my business has not been the strategy, because strategy you can get right here on YouTube, or you can get it on ChatGTP or cloud or whatever. I have been really seeing a challenge with people have is struggling in getting those leads, getting those sales, because their mindset and the story that they're telling themselves has been keeping them stuck from getting to their goal. And but I know there's some unicorns out there. And if you realize, hey, my in their head it's a strategy issue, but it's really not. It's their inability to identify a new way of thinking. Their inability to identify a new way of thinking. So one of the things in this season I've been doing a lot is really speaking to your belief system more than speaking to your strategy, because if strategy is the issue, why we're not doing it? Is there's some type of limiting belief that's stopping you from activating your greatness. And if I can speak to that, then you can do whatever strategy you need to do, right? Okay. So let me get into it, because I'm going to speak to my unicorn for a second. Because if you're like me, I'm a unicorn, and I kind of put inside a chat. And here's what the define when it comes to a unicorn is: a unicorn isn't someone who does what everyone else is doing. A unicorn is someone who is willing to make decisions that don't make sense to the crowd, because they have information, vision, or conviction that the crowd does not have. They don't need external validation to move. They don't need everyone to understand their next step. They trust what they see, even when others question it. Now, you get to this part. A unicorn is a person who can withstand being misunderstood long enough to prove themselves right. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it? So I'm going to get into what a unicorn look like for me, and what my understanding and the things that I have done to stand out as a unicorn. But before I express my unicorn behavior, I have to say this. I did not know this title of a unicorn till way later on in business, way later on in life. And because I was afraid to even embrace that I am a unicorn, I was afraid to embrace that terminology, right? So it's not on, but when things are keep happening to you in your life, when things just keep happening to you over and over, you don't have a choice but to own who you are. So, as a unicorn, a proud unicorn over here, I realized I was different when everyone around me, friends, and this is like even high school or family, were always comfortable with the status quo. They was always comfortable with the 9 to 5 that they have. They were always comfortable in the spaces that they are, and they never want to rock the boat. But for me, I'm always trying to rock the boat. And I realized I was making decisions that the average person didn't make. The one of the big decisions, that I talk about this a lot, and I talk about this in my book, is the decision to leave my 9 to 5, to leave law enforcement and go into this space of business sales coach. Like, leave that comfortable job. And the first thing as a unicorn that we said in the definition, sometimes people don't know, when a unicorn make a decision, no one know why they're making it. To them, to the average eye, it looks crazy. Why would they do that? Why would they leave a comfortable retirement job to sit there and go start something that's so risky? So as a unicorn, if you want to know, like, are you a unicorn? That's a kind of the first step, is, are you making decision that's to other people's unorthodox, and they're questioning your decision? That was the first thing. The second big thing that I did that says, okay, you might be a unicorn here. I remember when I was going through my divorce, I decided to leave my house, move into an apartment, and they thought I was crazy for doing that. And but in return, in moving into this 600 square footage apartment, one of the things that I did not say in my book, I was able to pay off between $15,000 and $20,000 in debt. Being able to do that, just being strategic and being able to do it. So these things were just signs where people wouldn't understand. They would question it. They would gossip about me, and I did. They didn't understand why I was doing it. A third thing is I invested my when I was starting out. I invested in real estate. I invested 30 grand in learning wholesaling property, lease option. I started invested in real estate, and to the average person, that's a lot of money and I did not have the money at the time. Okay, I did not. So I invested in real estate, and at that time, a person who was not even making that money would be crazy enough to invest something that they don't have just on faith and hope and all of this stuff. So to again to another person is like, that's crazy. I remember leaving one of my cousin's birthday parties to let her know, hey, I can't attend because I have this real estate conference to go to, and nobody in my family did any real estate. Yes, they may have had home, but they didn't know the different things that you can specialize in real estate. So but crazy me said yes and invested. Now, on the flip side, now today, the knowledge and education that I learned over there, I am now wholesaling, lease property, silent investor, all of this stuff, all of the education that I learned in that 30 grand, I'm using it. I'm applying it, in my business, in the business I use as business sales coach, where I'm teaching you digital marketing, and I'm teaching you sales psychology, and teaching you buyer ready messaging and all of that stuff. The profit from that goes into my real estate business so we can build wealth and build legacy. All of that would not be possible had I not invested in the real estate knowledge, and had not made me the person I am today. That's why I can work in the sales page and help real estate agent and help life insurance agent, help all that, because I literally wore those hats. And that's how I'm able to do the things that I'm doing now. So as a unicorn to everybody else, that was crazy. That was so crazy because you're getting sitting the finished product, but to everybody else that was looking at it, they see something else. So when you're deciding, and again, I didn't have a name for that at this time, but I wanted to just talk to you, the unicorn who feels like there's a pull into your heart. I remember being in law enforcement. I remember coming out of my lunch break. And going in my lunch break, when I was going to my lunch break, I would go in my own personal car and I would sit in my car and I would like, man, it got to be more to life. Like it got to be more where I can get time back. It wasn't necessarily about getting money back, but it was more about getting time back for my son that like, I could use these skills. Now, this is not telling any unicorn to go stop their 9 to 5. I'm just telling you where I am in this situation. If you want to identify that you're a unicorn, then this is the video for you. But I felt like I was not happy. I felt like my skills and knowledge weren't being used to the highest capacity. And when you're in a career, there's only like one way up, right? There's one pathway up. And that pathway sometimes is limited based on another level standard. So you could be good over here, but if it's not for the trajectory, then they say, you're not good. So you start believing those words. You start believing like, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not good because I have a skill level over here, but it's not on the same trajectory of everyone else. So maybe there's something's wrong with that. Because I always wanted more. I remember I didn't want to climb the ladder that everybody else wanted me to climb. I didn't want to stay in that space where everybody else wanted me to stay in. So I had to figure out my own path. And when you are a unicorn, there's something inside of you that you just not comfortable with comfortable. Let me say it again. Is this thing on? You're just not comfortable with comfortable. That's so important to know. When you're a unicorn, you're always looking, how can I make this better? How can I impact more? How can I transform more? When you're a unicorn, you always said, it got to be more than this. It got to be more than this. Like when you're a unicorn, the first person coming to my mind is like Elon Musk, because he's in the news right now to be the first trillionaire. And he's always trying to think of ways to one up himself, Now don't get me wrong, he can stop at any time. But for some reason, something inside of him always make him feel like he can one up in life. This is how you know it's not about money. It's about purpose. Because even though you have the money, Elon, Oprah, all these people, you still feel like there is something in your soul that still make you want to keep going no matter what. At any given time, you can like, hey, I'm retired, I'm done with this, but there's just something within you that makes you want to keep going no matter what. And that's how you know it's a unicorn in you. And if you haven't reached your 6 or 7 figure, you may not feel like, Sherri, no, I need to reach that. I ain't there yet. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But after a while, like you have money aside, like for me, I would bring you the YouTube video no matter what, right? I will speak on the stage no matter what. This past week, I spoke at, shout out to the beautiful Jasmine Womack. I spoke in her 5-day challenge on how to monetize your book challenge. And my number one job in that space was to come in and speak to other unicorns who feel as if they want more. They have this book they wrote and they have not been able to monetize that book. And my job was not to come in there and give them a strategy. My job was to come in there and create a paradigm shift in their mind of letting them understand that they have to create a new identity, a new belief, a new way of thinking in order to achieve whatever they need, not the strategy. And that's what I was in there to do. So I want to challenge you right now that if you're feeling like anything that I'm saying that's speaking to, like you feel like it's just something that you know you're happy where you are, you may be making money where you are, but you just feel like you don't feel purposeful. You don't feel purposeful. And if that is you, welcome to the unicorn world. Welcome to the unicorn world. And even in days where people would say in the economy, like my mom sometimes, of course, she raised a unicorn child. So she's still trying to figure out, like, who is this girl? So she'll ask him, well, how is business going? How is the economy? How is this? How is that? You don't forget you have your degrees. And, she always want to assure me, like, and again, I love her because I know where she's coming from. She was raised in that limiting belief. She was raised in that survival mode. So she's always making sure her daughter is okay. But one of the things that I tell her, I said, the beauty about who I am and the beauty that God has bestowed upon my life is I know that my impact, my money follow my impact, and my impact follow my brain. And guess what, unicorn? You have that too. Your impact follow your money, follow your impact follow your brain. So even in the seasons where our team was like, okay, we didn't reach our goal, what are we going to do? God has a way of just showing up for you if your business is purposeful and you're speaking to the people. And that's why you see me really speaking to more of the belief system than speaking towards, oh, you're going to make all this money, because people are tired of hearing that. And the reason why they're tired of hearing that is because they lack hope. They lack hope. So they need you, the unicorn, to remind them how good it can get. Matter of fact, my word that I got from Jasmine is, Lord God, show me how good this life can get. And I've been saying that over and over and over and over. God, show me how good life can get. And just, I've been speaking that to my soul. God, just show me how good life can get. And by me saying that over and over, every day I wake up to new ideas, new belief, new conversation. My husband speaking differently and just speaking with positive. And that is because when you believe in something, whatever you spend energy on, you get more of. Whatever you focus on, you get. And I've been focusing on God, just show me how good it can get. Not just, oh, I made this amount of money. Because we know the money is followed by purpose, followed by impact, followed by transformation. And I was in my with my group, and I was like, listen, I don't want to know, because we've had clients that have hit six figures in 3 months. We've had that. But I said, what is the impact that being in this space has did for you? That's a testimonial now that I want. Because if you can impact people's life beyond money as a unicorn, your life becomes even more transformative to the next person. So if you're in a space where you're feeling like, Sherri, you're talking to me, I love I love what I do, but I know I am called for more. I know I'm a thought leader. And I'm going to be the first one to say I have ran away from calling myself a thought leader for so long. And no matter what happened in my life, no matter what challenges that I'm faced with, I go to thought leadership. I go to personal development to pull me out. It wasn't a strategy. It was because I identify a new way of thinking about a situation. It got me on the other side. Oh, I'm getting chills because I identify a new way of believing, a new way of thinking, a new thought. It got me on the other side. It got me, my marriage got better, my business got better, my family got better, abundance and prosperity, all because I've decided to become a unicorn and identify a new way of thinking. That's it. That's it. Just literally identifying a new way of thinking as a unicorn. So if you're faced with a challenge, you're faced with a situation, you're saying, listen, I know I'm a unicorn. I know I think different from other people. I know I am patient in making a decision and waiting on people to see that decision was right in its own time. That's definitely the definition of a unicorn. Because sometimes the unbeliever, they take a while to catch up. They take a while to catch up. And especially if, because they're validating why you do the things you do based on their limited mindset. So why would you make that decision? You're stupid. Why would you do that? And based on their limited mindset, they don't understand why you do that. Like, I used to say this thing that, baby, you cannot be my enemy. You're not qualified to be my enemy if you don't even have a passport. Like, I used to say, like, because the way of thinking is just, you're in a box and you're like, your mind has not explore of why did they do that, or why did they, oh, okay. So a unicorn go beyond this strategy and say, hey, what story were you telling yourself when you create this and create this success? That's how a unicorn think. And the unicorns say things like, okay, what state of being were you in when you took this action? When you took this action. So I have been working this unicorn strategy on my husband the other day. And because I wanted to see, this is how I believe, like, God showed me how good it can get. You know, I've been a unicorn for a minute. So I wanted to see the same thing for my husband. So I have been testing him in this unicorn space, and I've been watching him use the tools, personal development tools on his own. And the way his eyes is open to things now, the way he see life in a different way, he can't unsee it. And it's a bit scary. It's a bit scary because now he really see people who they are. And now he's like, hold up. Then I'm like, oh, did I create a monster? Like, but as a unicorn, that's what you're called to do. You're called to impact people's lives. You're called to transform people's lives so they can see things in a different way, so they can take action and love themselves again. And it's just so beautiful to watch the tools that you teach people. It's one thing to help your clients, but it's another thing when you can take that same tool and apply it to somebody you love and watch them get the same results. Oh my goodness, unicorn. A transformation that's happening within your own home that is just, God is so good. God is so good. So I wanted to really challenge your mind right now, that could you maybe saying, hey, am I a unicorn? Am I different? I'm telling you, it. I struggle with saying that and believing that and understanding that. And let me just also say, let me paraphrase this real quick. Disclaimer: you're not better than anyone. You just think different than the average person around you, than maybe your family members, or you just think different. You just make different decisions. Sometimes those decisions are risky. Sometimes people take a long time to catch up to why you even made that decision. You know, and that's why, and here's a challenge with being a unicorn. The challenge with being a unicorn is sometimes you're the only one in your space that is a unicorn. So the people around you don't understand why you make the decision you make, and you have to wait on them to catch up, because you can't keep going back explaining, which you should not be. So you just have to hold faith for them to understand later on. And when they do, they're like, oh, okay. So that's why you did what you did, and you did what you did. Right? But by that time, you're on to the next one. On to the So if you are a unicorn, welcome to our world, because unicorns are game changers. They are leaders. They're transformers. They make the world a better place. They're the one that people go to for advice, for decision making. So, hey, welcome. Own it. Now, understand though, if you want to leverage this unicorn ability, because I'm just now at my age learning how to do it, you have to get in spaces that think like you. You have to get in spaces that believe that unicorn nest that's within you. And that's where we have our Next Move community. We have a community called Next Move, where we other unicorns are a part of, that believe different, that think different, that take risks, that show up for each other. Because when you're thinking about something in one way, and you're the only one thinking it in one way, it sometimes takes another unicorn to say, hey, look at it in this way. And you're like, huh, I never look at it in that manner before. And then it start making sense, a new idea, new way of looking at the thing, like, oh, okay. On another podcast episode, I'm going to tell you how I almost burned everything to the ground because of the way I was thinking about something. And then as soon as I somebody open up my new idea, new perspective, I started looking at it in a different way. And when I started looking at it in a different way, I identified a new way of looking at it. It made more sense to me. And now I am literally reaping the harvest because of me allowing that decision to stay with me and not be premature and just stop or run or whatever. And I just love that. All right. So, unicorns, welcome to the party. Super glad to have you. You're the game changer. The world needs you. And if you are saying to yourself, like, I know I had those feelings here, I just didn't know what name to call it or what it was. I couldn't put words to it. I get it, because I was there as well. Welcome is great here. And if you need other unicorn community, we are here for you inside of our Next Move program. It's your girl, Sherri Somers. Make sure you hit the bell and subscribe. See you on the next episode. But before you do, make sure you comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback on this episode. Talk to you soon.